Okay, wow. Okay, you guys, have you ever had everything set and then it I gotta get this all set here. You get everything set and then your camera won't work. So I had everything here, I practiced, everything was great, and then my camera on my computer wouldn't work. So I'm using my cell phone. Hopefully you can hear me good and we can get started. I'm a little bit late on our Thursday Facebook Live event. And so today we are chatting about chicken stew recipe. I am welcoming you back into my kitchen. For those of you who have not seen the first time that I did this, I connected yeast and leadership together and we made garlic tie the knots, and that was very fun. So I've decided that I'm way into cooking and baking, and so I'm gonna try to connect a recipe to each one of the events that we have. And today we are going to talk about chicken stew, and well, you'll know soon enough what our topic will be today. Well, I think you already know because the title said a cup of diversity. So there you go, spoiler alert, it's about diversity, which makes a lot of sense, right? It's a relevant topic. February is Black History Month and March is Women's History Month, so it makes a lot of sense. And over the last year, we've had quite a bit of discussions and just anger, quite frankly, with regards to race relations. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit and bring some of my perspective to the conversation. And the other thing I need to tell you before I get started here is Mike and I, my husband Mike and I, are doing a pantry challenge. The pantry challenge, about 4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, looking in the freezer and saw that we had tons of food, and there's only 2 of us in the house now. Both of our kids are grown and married and out the door. Well, Nick's not married yet, but he will be shortly, and it's just the 2 of us. So why are we grocery shopping every week? Why are we doing that except for buying produce or dairy or that type of thing? And so I said to Mike, hey, let's only make recipes and only eat food that we have in the house. That's either in the pantry, the refrigerator, or the freezer. And so that's what we've been doing. And I personally have been having a blast at it. I think he has too. We've made some different types of stuff, some different desserts and things. So I'll share those with you later on or at another time. But we're having fun. So I'm going to challenge you to go into your pantry and only make things that are in there. I'm a little nervous as we get to the salsa and the soup because we're going to have to be pretty creative when we get to that section. Right now it's been kind of easy because it's been chicken and pork and beef and we've got the vegetables and things like that goes with it. So it's been kind of easy to do that. But we are focusing on it. So I challenge you. And if there are food in your pantry, like in ours, that you don't like or you aren't going to be able to make a recipe with, then donate it. And I'd love to hear about how you help out those in your community. Excellent. Okay, so we got the pantry challenge out there, and we are going to get started in on our recipe. So I've already, I've already chopped up the carrots, the onions, the celery, and the potatoes. So those are in the crock pot. I'm going to be chopping up the chicken as, I feel like, I don't know if you guys know Julia Childs, but I feel like chopping up the chicken. I feel like that's what I say. For those of you that are about my age, you know the Saturday Night Live skit of Julia Childs. But I also want to bring your attention to this fantastic knife. If you are into cooking, this is a chef's knife. It's manufacturer is global. It's a stainless steel 18-inch blade, Japanese knife, and it is sharp, so be careful with it, but it is awesome, absolutely awesome. It was a Christmas present this past year. Mike got it for me, and I love it. So, why, I'm gonna cut up this chicken while we're talking here. Why diversity? Why am I talking about diversity? Why is it on my mind? Well, our Rotary Club up here in Rockton, Illinois, Roscoe, Illinois, is undergoing a initiative to grow our membership, right? So it's a membership drive. But we don't just want to bring in members. We want to actually be intentional about bringing diverse people into our club so that we can learn, we can be representative of our community, and it isn't this, quite frankly, old white man's club. And so we are intentionally going through, we're just at the beginning stages, but we're intentionally going through the process of a membership drive and implementing a strategy based on diversity and bringing diverse people into our club. And I'm excited about it. I'm the president of the club, and I am really thrilled that we are going down this road. It is about time. So, through my research, I've been watching YouTube videos on unconscious bias. I've been reading a lot about racism and anti-racism and all of this stuff. And so I thought, you know what, today is a good day, February 25th, the last Thursday in February, Black History Month, to talk about diversity. So I have a question. Now I can't see your responses because it's not on my computer and it's on my phone. But I do want you just to think about one question, and that is, when you hear the word diversity, when you hear that word, what do you think of? So just think about that for a second. When you hear the word diversity, what do you think of? What do you think of? For me, I think of gender, right? Of course, I'm a woman and I hit the wall pretty much every day when it comes to whatever. And so I think of gender and I think of skin color. Those are the things that I think of when I think of diversity. I might think of age, but it takes me a little while to get there. So as I was going through this research, Rotary International had directed me to a website where there was a document that was called Social Identity Wheel, and it was developed by the University of Michigan. And on it, so it's this wheel, and so on it there are all different kinds of identities. And so I'm just going to read them to you, because typically we're thinking of race and we're thinking of gender, but there's a lot others too that define diversity. There's ethnicity, yes, makes sense, ethnicity. Socioeconomic status, hadn't thought about that one. Gender, sex, sexual orientation, national origin, first language, now that one surprised me, I hadn't thought about that. Physical, emotional, developmental abilities or disabilities, right? So those folks that have a physical disability, an emotional disability, or a developmental disability, absolutely. Age, religious or spiritual affiliation, and race. So there are, I think, 11, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 listed here. And I will guarantee you there are plenty more of social identities that would come into the definition of diverse. But those are just a few. And I wanted to just point that out because it's important that we're inclusive for everybody. And race is important and gender is important, but it's big, right? It's bigger than that. So I wanted to bring that up as we talk about diversity. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys today, which is, it's a personal experience that I had about, I don't remember how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe longer. My niece will know. And that I want to share with you, and maybe you've experienced this before. I'm guessing that you have, or you can understand where I'm coming from. I hope you can understand where I'm coming from, because it's a very personal example. And that is that about 10 years ago, I drove down to St. Louis to visit my niece. And she lived downtown St. Louis. I mean, downtown St. Louis. She lived in one of those really cool loft apartments, that kind of had rafters and all that. It was really cool. And so I went down to visit her, and I made a hotel reservation at a hotel at the Holiday Inn that was close to her apartment. And so I'm just putting this chicken in, putting the chicken in the crock pot. Anyway, so I left after work, and so I left about 5 o'clock, and to get to St. Louis from Rockford is about 5.5 hours. So I drove down there, and I was a little nervous. So some of you may know, but most of you probably do not know, that one of my big time fears is to be attacked and raped. I know, I have no idea, excuse me, I have no idea where that comes from, but that is one of my biggest fears. It just freaks me out. I dream about it. Night terrors, the whole thing. Anyway, I'm guessing that some of you can probably relate to that. So I was driving late at night. I got down there about 10:30, and I'm trying to find the parking lot to the hotel. I find the parking lot, which I think is the parking lot. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like, I'm just gonna park here and go into the hotel and I'll ask. So I park there. It was across the street from the hotel, and I'm really putting a lot of chicken in this stew. I hope Mike likes it. Anyway, so I get out of the car. I grab my overnight bag and walk pretty fast on the way into the hotel. So I'm across the street, so I'm a little bit a ways, and so I'm walking towards the hotel. I'm not across the street. I haven't even started crossing the street yet. I'm still in the parking lot, and this man starts yelling at me. He starts yelling, not at me, but to me, and he says, "Ma'am, ma'am," and he sounds really aggressive, and I don't know if he wants money. I don't know if he's gonna rob me. I have no idea if he's gonna hurt me. I have no idea. And so I kept walking, and so he finally he keeps bugging me. He's getting closer and closer. So finally, I turn around. I'm like, "What?" And there is this very tall black man standing there, and he says, "Ma'am, you can't park here without a parking pass." I said, "Okay, well, how do I get a parking pass?" He goes, "Well, I can give you that parking pass." And I'm thinking, yeah, right. Is this a scam? Is he trying to lure me just to open my purse? He's going to steal my wallet. What's going to happen here? And I was really nervous, and I've always been very just aware of my surroundings, and quite honestly, not trusting, because I'm worried that someone's going to hurt me. So he then proceeds, so he goes and he gets me a parking pass, and he then proceeds to berate me and yell at me and call me a racist and call me all these things that he shouldn't have been calling me, because I did not turn around and talk to him when he was yelling at me. And so I stopped him, and I got really mad and said, "Look, excuse me, sir, you don't know me. You have no idea my background. You don't know me at all. I want you to look at this from my perspective. I am in a strange town. It's 10:30 at night. I'm in a parking lot. I have a man that is yelling at me. I don't know if he's going to hurt me. I have no clue. I'm a small woman. You're stronger than I am. And you don't even have any identification." He had no lanyard. He had no vest. His shirt was a t-shirt. Didn't even have the name of the parking lot organization. Nothing. How am I to know that this parking pass he's giving me is even valid? I have no idea. I didn't have to pay for it, so I guess it was. Anyway, so we calmed down. Both of us calmed down. I learned a lesson. He learned a lesson, and I went on, had a great time with my niece. But the reason I'm telling you this story is because that experience, it comes up to my mind every once in a while. Not all the time, but every once in a while. I think about that man and what he said. And as I was watching these YouTube videos on unconscious bias, I thought about that experience, and I thought about that man. And I thought, if he were white, would I have stopped? I don't think I would have. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know what color he was until I stopped and turned around. If he were older, black or white, I think I would have stopped. But I don't know, right? So I don't know. And that experience and that question, and that's all I'm kind of talking about today is just questioning, what would we do? Now, I'm totally not suggesting that you go to some strange town at 10:30 at night and you just naively walk into whatever neighborhood and don't be thinking about your surroundings and don't protect yourself. That is not what I'm saying. But I am saying that we should check ourselves. We should check our thoughts. We should check our responses and see if it's right and if we should be thinking that or acting that way or whatever. I mean, I think awareness is really, really important. I'm just going to take a quick break here and put in the tomato sauce. So we're putting in tomato sauce. I'm going to put in a oh, that's a huge tablespoon of tomato paste, but does it really matter? I mean, like tomato paste. So I need, oh, the other thing I'm making too, Mike doesn't know. He doesn't know what we're having for dinner tonight. He has no idea that I'm making the stew. So if it doesn't turn out, I guess I have more chicken in the refrigerator. I can just make something else. But I'm also making homemade biscuits, so I'll let you know how that is too. Oh, did I tell you that this recipe comes from the cleaneatingcouple.com? And I'll put the link so that, I think I told you that, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so unconscious bias. Here's where I'm at with this whole thing and this stew and diversity, and that is that God designed us differently. He did not design us all the same. He designed carrots as orange. He designed people with green leaves, and he designed peppers in the shape of whatever the pepper shape is, or onions as yellow and round, right? He designed all of us differently on purpose. We have different traditions, we have different cultures, we have different languages, we have different ideas, we have different skills and talents, and it's incredible, right? I mean, it is incredible. And he did that. Why? He did that because we are good as individuals, right? Like this carrot is good if you're into carrots. This carrot is good on its own, but mixed with chicken broth and garlic and slap your mama, this Cajun seasoning is really good, but mixed with slap your mama Cajun seasoning and pepper and salt and all of the other goodness, this carrot becomes absolutely amazing and delicious. And that's my point. We were not designed to be alone. We were not designed to only be our image of ourselves, and that is the perfect image, and that is the only image. No. We were designed to come into community. We were designed to come together. We were designed to learn from each other, to listen to each other, and to be delicious together. I don't know how else to combine that with this amazing stew, but that's the thing. You know, research shows us, which is amazing, that a gender diverse organization outperforms those who aren't by 15%. And if you're ethnically diverse, it's 35%. We can't afford to leave that amount of growth on the table. So the message today is to reach out to our diverse friends and welcome them into our organizations. And here's the thing though, you gotta be intentional about it. If we go about going, yes, I'm gonna be diverse, I'm gonna invite my diverse people, it's gonna be an organic way to grow or to bring diversity into our organizations, it won't happen. Because human nature is to go with people that are like us, that think like us, that I mean, you can see it in the United States with the polarization, right? Those people who think the same, they join their own forces. They don't talk to the other sides. And that's not the way it was intended for us to be. So you have to be intentional. You have to intentionally be strategic in reaching out to people who don't look like you, or people who don't think like you, or people who are in a different socioeconomic class than you, or people who are disabled, or people who speak different languages, right? So that's my diversity discussion today, and how I am applying it to this chicken stew. I just am so grateful that you guys have joined me here today, and I thank you for listening to me. And I want you to reach out. I want you to tell me in the chat. Just tell me, write comments. How are you going to welcome diverse thought and diverse people into your world? Have an absolutely fantastic Thursday. I love you guys. See you later.